In this episode of G.I. Joe Enlisted, we say hello to a new recruit to the G.I. Joe classified line, Torpedo. So, stick around. Hello, fellow dorks and dorkettes, and welcome to It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room. My name is Rob, and in this episode, we will be taking a look at the new G.I. Joe classified figure of Torpedo. Now, he came out about a month ago, and I've been kind of just sitting on it since then, because I haven't had time to film, and that's pretty much why you're getting a backlog of classified reviews recently, just because, yeah, with my job and family, this time of year is just a super crunch time, and either I just don't have the time to film, or I'm just practically brain dead and can't talk or function on camera. Kind of like now. Anyway, what are we doing sitting here? Let's take a look at Torpedo over at the table.
Yo, Joe!
Okay, here we go. Torpedo. One of the things that I absolutely love about this packaging is the callback to the original miniseries, and these tube worms, man, they scared the crap out of me as a kid. That noise they made, and just how they were like going after Cobra and G.I. Joe. It was, yeah, I love these dudes. Anyway, again, I'm a fan of this new packaging that they're doing, where they have the figure front and center. Awesome artwork here on the side, which we'll get a better look at on the side of the packaging, and his accessories, which he comes with a good amount of them. Surprising Hasbro didn't charge more, because they've been doing that recently. Anyway, here we have the code that doesn't do anything. He's number 73. Here we have another shot of the figure, his accessories, and some highlights that they want to point out. I guess the buckle detail and this awesome sonar readout that he has on his wrist. And he is 6 inches on the dot. Again, I'm a fan of this. I just get a big kick out of them actually saying how big the figure is. Here we have that artwork. Allow me to bring the camera down a bit. Really cool. I love the harpoon gun here. Just great detail on his diving mask and oxygen respirator and everything. Very cool. I like that. Anyway, very cool packaging. Now let's see how the figure and his accessories look. Okay, here we go. Torpedo. He looks great. He has a great wiry build of a swimmer. So it's a big contrast from some of the recent ones we've been opening, like Rock and Roll and Copperhead, which are big, bulky characters, and Shipwreck, who has a lot of textures in his clothing. So it's really cool that the sculptors are, just going that extra mile. And we see his accessories here. We have his diving fins. We have his oxygen backpack, a knife, his goggles and hoses, harpoon gun, and a submachine gun, which makes sense. I mean, he's a Navy SEAL, so he's going to be ready for anything to hit the beach and take control. So let's take a look at him up close here. I mean, great sculpting on the face. They took some extra time and gave him some great details of features of like a Hawaiian or Polynesian culture. We have some pouches here. I mean, this is the buckle that they were advertising. I mean, it's pretty good. I've seen better. His weights on his belt here and the quick release. Here is that sonar wristband that they were showing on the packaging. Some pouches on the side. Very nice. But very true to the original. A little bit of paint scuff there. Very true to the original figure, which we will take a look at later in comparison to this version. So yeah, let's start putting his gear on him and get a good look at all this diving equipment on this awesome figure. Okay, here is his gear, and first things first, the flippers went on great. This diving mask it's perfect. I mean, it covers all of his face, plugs into the backpack here very snugly and perfectly. Got his knife in the sheath. I'm not sure this is where the submachine gun goes, but it's where I'm putting it for now. So he's ready for a beach landing or sneaking aboard a moray or the water moccasin or something. And here's his harpoon gun, which again has great detailing. I mean, we have the like rubber strap of the launching mechanism. We have a little tie off to the arm. Just very nice. So now that we have him all geared up, let's compare him to his original figure, side by side with his original incarnation. So you can see they're both holding their harpoon guns. They both had their flippers on. The color scheme's pretty much exactly the same. The one difference of what I like more about the original is the orange oxygen tanks on his backpack and like these little, I'm assuming they're like propulsion things, or they're missiles. Maybe they're missiles, that'd be cool. But I mean, this version is everything you could ask for in a classified figure. That it is a faithful reproduction of the original figure, just more awesome. So this Torpedo definitely hits the mark. So let's play around, do a couple of poses, and I'll see you in a moment.
Okay, final thoughts on G.I. Joe Classified Torpedo. First thing, he is wonderfully sculpted. His accessories are top-notch, and I love the fact that they are making different body types for different characters. Like I said, Rock and Roll that we looked at, he was big, bulky. Copperhead, big, bulky. Shipwreck, more of like a husky, muscular build, but his clothing and their textures really filled out that figure. And Torpedo, very slender, athletic, a swimmer's body. So A+ to Hasbro for making different body types, having a wonderful sculpting job, and awesome accessories. But the one thing about the accessories, like I mentioned in the Rock and Roll episode, his harpoon gun, just like Rock and Roll's machine gun, is super rubbery. and I feel like I cannot win. Before, when the weapons were super rigid, they had a hard time of fitting in the hands. Now that they're super rubbery, they are on the other end of the spectrum and also hard to hold and pose without it getting all wonky looking. And I have a fear that it'll break. It fits perfectly with his fins and his, diving mask. But when it comes to his actual weaponry, that's the biggest fail of this figure, and I would assume the classified figures from here on out. I mean, it's a great harpoon gun. It's just, yeah. I mentioned it in a couple of the comments when I've, conversated with some viewers about this. I wholeheartedly believe that Hasbro knows that their niche market are the collectors that are just going to be posing the figures and putting them on a shelf like me, or just leaving them in the package. So they know kids aren't playing with these figures and being rough with the figures and the accessories, so they're saving a few cents where they can by, making subpar weaponry and accessories with a cheaper rubberized plastic. Nothing wrong with that. I wholeheartedly understand, but I just think it stinks. Anyway, 100% in this category, and a kind of a bummer in this category, but overall, great figure, and I recommend Torpedo to anyone that is a G.I. Joe fan or action figure collector. I think it's awesome. And yeah, I was a fan of the character growing up. I think the cartoon really added to that because he was just a fun-loving, wisecracking dude that really knew how to take care of business when the chips were down. And yeah, I was a big fan of him, and the original action figure was definitely one of my favorites. Oh, and another thing, just real quick. When you have a character like this with a, full face mask, and, you can take the mask off, which is super awesome. I almost would have preferred that they created two heads. One fully masked up, and the mask does not come on and off, or it still can, that would be cool. But one of just him without his wetsuit, head, hood up, and, hair in the breeze or what have you. I would have really appreciated that, because in the cartoon we saw him without, his wetsuit on a lot. So that would have been cool. Anyway, I'm rambling. Like I mentioned, my brain is mush. So we'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you got something to say, please leave a comment. I love reading them, and I love getting back to everyone. And if you're new around here and you enjoyed this episode or any of the other ones that YouTube is recommending down here, please hit subscribe. And if you hit that little bell icon, you will be notified whenever there's a new episode. So anyway, until next time, thanks for watching. Keep being rad and stay dorky.